My name is Juan William Chavez. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, cultural activist, and beekeeper. I've been here in Indy for about 2 months working on the Indianapolis Bee Sanctuary. So the Indianapolis Bee Sanctuary that has an outer wall of native flowers for the bees. On the floor, it's lined with around 360 hexagon pavers. The space is designed to educate and give people the experience of what bees are and why they're so important. The main philosophy of the Indianapolis Bee Sanctuary is that a better environment for bees is a healthier environment for humans. So for the past 5 years in St. Louis, I've been working on the concept of a bee sanctuary. And it's a multi-general, kind of multi-layered project that has a youth program that involves beekeeping, art, cooking, and gardening. And this would be the first time where we found the right partner, which would be Tube Factory, to bring some kind of version of the bee sanctuary here that celebrates the kind of urban ecosystem of Indianapolis.
My name is Kate Franzman. I have lived in Indianapolis for more than 10 years, and I run an organization called Bee Public. And that organization focuses on education about pollinators. Big part of what I do beyond keeping honeybees in public places like the ones we have here is education. And there's no better way, I think, to educate people than to mix in some kind of art. This would be definitely the first time where I've set up a beehive that is part of an art exhibit that really is meant to be visited. These bees were sourced from a local honey farm in Indiana, and we brought them here. I brought them here in my Subaru, and they were very happy to be put into hives. And within, I don't know, a month, we already had to start adding more supers, and this is a English style hive with 8 frames in each box, which is a little bit different than your traditional Langstroth hive with 10 frames per box. My philosophy in beekeeping is very much the bees know best. Setting up a suitable home for the bees and letting them do their thing and trying to disturb them as little as possible. Every time you get into the hive and check them out, you're setting their work back a few days, and so a little more hands off, a little more let them do what they need to do, and then at the end of the season, just making sure they're protected going into winter. In Indianapolis specifically, there's been a little bit of a cultural shift in the past few years where people are aware that there's an issue surrounding bees and their decline, and that they are tied into our everyday lives. I think a lot of people never realized the connection because of pollination and our food system, that we require pollinators and bees to be around, and that they're not something to be feared, they're something to be respected.
Yeah, I'm Elliot Thornton, lead builder artist here at the Tube Factory. It kind of seemed like there were 2 ways to go about it. One would be to make something that totally looks like a normal outdoor retaining wall, and the other is to make something that looks like a gigantic piece of furniture that feels like a sanctuary and has like a certain level of awe to it. The pavers that we're actually creating form this nice surface that hopefully people will kind of feel really comfortable walking on, and have a lot of color to it. I'm also really excited about sort of the final steps of it, where once we have this structure, we fill it with a bunch of branches and logs and layers of soil and compost, and have this other inner structure that will evolve over time, and as all that stuff comes to rot and all of the nutrients from the material that's in there all kind of stabilizes into something plants want, and having this beautiful means of providing nourishment to the bees inside the sanctuary from this kind of arching back that sort of surrounds them in their little house. So I think from the outside, the bee sanctuary won't necessarily look like a hexagon, because the one side of the hexagon is missing to create this entryway where you'll see these 2 boxes and bees probably flowing out and up behind them. And the openings of all of the beehives is meant to go towards this big 7-foot wall And so the bees, as they travel, will kind of be this, stream up the wall, which, I think will have kind of like a little bit of a whimsical feel.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jared Dortch. I'm a community gardener here at Big Car, and I also run a business called Soulful Gardens. We're a small startup business. We've been fortunate enough to work with Big Car for the last couple of years here and trying to maintain and try to preserve this garden. And the opportunity to pair that with not only an exhibit, but a long-standing piece of work that's going to be there, so it's going to be a perpetual thing. It really got us excited. It really pushed us to a place that we hadn't been before, because we kind of feel like we're going to be given an important part of this, so we have to make sure that we do everything the best way possible. We are really excited about it. We really think it's going to be great. We feel that, if we can align the things that we're growing and the things that the flowers along with the plants and vegetables, and align those in a way that not only helps the bee population but also will help the garden itself. That's like, seeing that in action is something that I'm very excited about, and also learning more about how we can grow vegetables and plants that also would be able to benefit the bee population, as we know that working with the TeenWorks kids this summer has been a great experience. These young men have come diligently, have worked hard, and have been prepared to adapt with change if needed. They've been great, they've been motivators, they've been fun to watch them as they coexist and how they learn how to deal with each other and how to work into this environment.
As the time went on, I got comfortable working with the bees after I started learning more about them and how it really affects the community and how our ecosystem and stuff is survived off bees. So, I became friends, as you can say, with the bees.
I was a little confused because overall I was just expecting paintings and all that, or something simple in the inside, and I wasn't expecting working outside with bees.
To be honest, I thought art was just, paintings and everything like that, but art could be anything, such as bees and everything else around the world.
We've been doing stuff that takes patience. So I wasn't really a patient person. I wanted to do stuff like right away. So now I know there's like a step A, B, and then you finally get to like C. By them allowing us to express our artwork and stuff, I mean, you cannot even like art, but you still get to express yourself in different ways, because art is in different ways of life. So I feel like being here, I got to express myself, I got to meet new people, and I got to do something I enjoy, and I learned something different about art. And I learned something during the summer, I didn't stay home and, just be in the bed. Like, I got to get up, come to work, develop myself professionally, and also come here and do stuff and help other artists out.
Something I've learned from observing the honeybee world specifically is that everything is done for the greater good. So within a honeybee hive, you'll see a lot of altruism and sacrifice so that the colony can survive better. And I think when you're working with community partners and collaborating to spread a certain message, that's exactly the same thing, and that maybe we can learn something from the bees that we can implement as humans.
I'm a big believer to get things done or ideas realized, you have to work as a group, you have to function as a hive. Bees are known as a superorganism, meaning that they come together and form one being. So I'm learning from them to kind of tap into our connection. As humans, we actually survive on bees because they pollinate the majority of our food. So in some ways I look at it as poetics, but it's also a very concrete thing that working together as a team will help us survive, will help us problem solve, will help us incubate ideas. But the end result is a space. It's somewhat, it's a hive that people will also be able to come later down the line and learn about bees and have their own experience. That's kind of just like the great thing about this project, is that we're having this experience that will then be able to pass on to other people. They'll be able to walk into the sanctuary and have their own experience, and hopefully kind of pass that torch of knowledge.